Yes, guys, we are going to talk about routers, how to assign your routers an IP address. All right. So you will have your router. A router is a device, a network device. That network device will allow your other computers to be connected to other networks or to the internet. Like the way you are sitting, you got your computers, right? For those computers to be connected to the internet or to other networks, your computers need to have the IP address of the router. And that IP address, we call it a default gateway, right? So when you have your phones, for your phone to be connected to the internet or to other networks, your phone needs to know the IP address of the wireless access point. And that IP address, that unique number, we call it default gateway, right? So the default gateway is the unique number or the IP address that will allow your computers to be connected to other networks or to the internet. And that IP, we call it default gateway, right? Now, how to assign your router or your wireless access point, that default gateway, that number. As I said, your computers need to have a default gateway. Your computers need to know the IP address that will allow them to be connected to the internet or to other networks, right? Let's try to configure it together, and you're going to see how to do the configurations, all right? I'm going to try to share my screen. So what I will do, I'll just put like two computers. You can do that together with me, two computers, and maybe you have a router here, and they can have a switch, and we can do the cabling just fast. Okay, when you're done, and you must be careful from which port you are using, because that port, this is the IP address we're going to assign to that port. You must know the name of the port. You can even write it down. Like mine, I'm going to use the gigabit Ethernet 0/0/0. For you there, I don't know which one you're going to use, right? You must make sure that you know the port that you are assigning the IP address, because your router will have port. That port will have a name. Like mine is gigabit Ethernet 0/0/0. This is the IP address of that port that I'm going to use, right? You can see that it's red. Why red? Because when you are using a router, you have to switch on your ports. Your ports, they are off by default, right? Let's do the configurations now. First, I will go to my computers. I have to assign my computers the IP addresses first. And every computer must have the router's IP or that default gateway, right? Okay, I will go to PC1. Let me first make sure that everybody can see. Okay, with my PC1, okay. I will give it an IP address. As usual, you know how to assign. I'm going to use 192.168.1.2. And my default gateway, I'm going to use 192.168.1.1. For all your computers, you must have the same default gateway. Because if you are connected using that port, this is the IP address that you're going to use. Suppose like you have 20 computers, like connect to that switch, and your switch is connected to that single port. Means that all your computers must have the default gateway of that port. All right. When I'm done, I can go to the second one, the second PC. All right. Let me try to share again. I'm gonna do the same. I'm gonna give it an IP address, default gateway, and I'm gonna use the same default gateway, right? And when I'm done, what you're gonna do now, you have to go to your router and do the configurations, right? Because your router doesn't know the IP address that's it's going to use right? You go to your router, you just click, you go to CLI, you say no. Oh, let me try first to check if you can see my screen. Yeah, you type no first and you press enter and enter again. So you say no, and enter twice. And you say enabled, you know how to do it, this one, configure terminal, enter. From here, you must tell the router that you want to configure your port, which interface. Mine, it was like interface gigabit 0/0/0. You remember it was interface gigabit 0/0/0. Right? I'm gonna press enter. When I'm done, you have to switch on the port by typing no shutdown. Right? So switching on the port and press again enter. And you must type now the IP address. IP address, it's 192.168.1.1, following by what? By the subnet mask 255. So you type IP address space 192.168.1.1 space 255.255.255.0 and you press enter. Right? When you are done, you can test now the connectivity. You have to test the connectivity, right? How to test the connectivity? You go to one of your computer. Let me try to check if you can see my screen again. Yeah, so we are testing the connectivity. You go to your computer, you go to command prompt. Let's try to ping the router. Let's try to ping the default gateway to see if your computer can communicate with the default gateway. 192.168.1.1.1, you press enter. You see there is a reply, right? So there is connectivity between your computers and the wireless access point or the router, right? This is the processes, right? But later on, this is the end, right? But later on, you are going to see that we are going to use another command for assigning a default gateway. And that command is, I will show you later on, but now you can just start over, do the same things. And I'm gonna show you the command that I've used. Those are the command, right? So for those who are writing down, this is the command that I've used, right? Very easy. Try to go over and you can repeat them. Make sure that you know how to do it. The processes will be your computers need to have the default gateway. The default gateway is the IP address of your router, right? So try to practice and later on we are going to move on, right?